Hello and welcome to the Stronger, Leaner, Lighter show. Today we're talking top tips for getting a good night's sleep. Hope you got your pen and paper handy because I've got the jam-packed full show. Hello, it's Wednesday again. Lovely to have you here. I am really excited about this show. The thing I love about putting these shows together most of all is the research that goes behind it. And I've just been talking to my husband, Jerry, about some of the things that I have been learning about sleep over the last couple of days that we are going to implement. And I hope today after this show, you will be taking your sleep as seriously as I am now after doing all this research. It's fascinating, isn't it, to think many years ago how sleep deprivation or not getting good night's sleep wasn't taken seriously. I remember going to seminars where they kept you awake until midnight and then had you back in at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. the next day. And you now realize how damaging that was. And for anybody on this call today who is in perimenopause or menopause, a lot of these tips are about you. A lot of these tips are for you, and of course anybody that's raised children and had sleep deprivation for years. This is how we're going to turn this around. So let me know in the comments if this is an area you struggle with, and I hope as I'm going through the strategies that some of these will be really ringing true. I've gone through them, each of the strategies. I've read so many studies in the last couple of days, really pulling out simple strategies for you and giving you some rationale behind them. So I'm looking forward to this show, and I hope you are too. Just give me a hello. Can I just say before we even start though, big love, our thoughts with everybody in New South Wales. I've just read you guys are going to stay in lockdown now until at least another couple of weeks. Please feel free to reach out to me or to any of the EFT practitioners you know. If you are struggling, we're here to help you. And in particular, if you're in New South Wales and you're really struggling, please reach out to me. I'm here. I know for many of my Melbourne friends, I know what you went through a couple of months ago. This is tough. This is really tough. So please ensure that if you are struggling, please reach out. I'm here. I'm here to chat. I'm here to talk. Let's do an EFT session. We can help. We can help. Don't feel that you have to go through this on your own, but please reach out. Send me a DM, or if you know somebody that's really struggling, please let me know, and we can certainly help. This is really tough, but we knew it was coming. It's a virus, and we have viruses in wintertime. We knew this was going to happen. We wandered around thinking we were all very smart, in Australia. Nope, it's winter. Northern Hemisphere is in summer. And that's what happens at the change of seasons. We have viruses. That's what happens. So, anyway, I'll say no more. Michelle, let me see. Michelle, hello, Michelle. 49 in perimenopause. Oh, yes. I have insomnia. Find it extremely difficult to go to sleep almost every night. Have 3 daughters, twin foot. Yeah. Great, Michelle. I'm hoping that you can get some of this out. Some of the tips I'm going to share is specifically written for those in perimenopause and menopause in particular. I know I really struggled during those times myself. And, much of the stuff that I went through was, when I look back on it, was really about not getting enough sleep. I was sleep deprived, and that made me cranky, hard to live with, as well as impacting on my health. So great, Michelle. Lovely to have you here. I hope some of these tips are going to work for you. And before we start, of course, a big shout out to Naz Cosmetics, our wonderful sponsor. Please check out Naz Cosmetics. If you're in a situation too where you're looking for a side hustle or a new career, Naz Cosmetics, Jen Hines has got a phenomenal facilitators program, not multi-level. It's actually you own your own business. Check out Naz Cosmetics. I think it's tonight she has a webinar about it. So check it out. them out, and NAS Cosmetics, I just love them. Absolutely love them. All right, let's get on to the show because we're only going to go for 20 minutes or so. I hope. There's so much to tell you. All right. According to the National Sleep Foundation, approximately 61% of menopausal and perimenopausal women have sleep problems. That's a lot. Like, that's over half of us women walking around sleep deprived. It's not good. And the impact on our health and long-term health that I'm going to show you is really critical. So I'm just going to go through some details about the impact it has on you. First of all, I'm going to whip through these really quickly. So, I talk about releasing visceral fat all the time, the weight around the belly, the fat around the belly. The 4 S's of releasing visceral fat include less stress, lowering cortisol, more sleep. I'm going to share that with you soon. Less sugar and more strength. And what's interesting is, and a lot of things that we're going to be talking about around sleep today actually incorporate these other 3. But here's some of the statistics and what causes it and the impact on your health. Number 1, a single night of poor sleep has been shown to lead to an increased levels of ghrelin, your hunger hormone. It's the hormone that swings into action when you're hungry. Now, when it's increased in it, it leads to an increase in appetite, slows your metabolism, decreases the body's ability to burn fat. Also, again, favors the accumulation of fatty tissue in the abdominal area. So we're talking about that visceral fat. So if you are struggling with your weight, this is why. Also leads to a decrease in leptin, which is your fullness hormone. So you tend to overeat. So you've got an increase in ghrelin, so you're hungrier. Decrease in leptin, so your levels of how hungry you are dissipate. You tend to overeat. But this is really interesting. A single night of reduced sleep can lead to temporary insulin resistance in healthy adults, leading to more fat storage and food cravings. So when you're sleep deprived, you're not getting enough sleep, ghrelin and leptin are all over the place. Your insulin resistance is increased, and you tend to go for sugary foods. That's what your brain is looking for. So, if you're sleep deprived, you tend to want things like, muffins or croissants or sticky things or hamburgers or something with bread in it or pasta or rice, something that's really easy to digest and boosts those sugar craving, insulin. So your body is actually looking for. Inadequate sleep. Oh, sorry, got an spelling error there. Inadequate sleep is correlated with reduced skin health and accelerates skin aging. And talk to Jen at NAS Cosmetics, because they've got this lovely veil that covers up all those wrinkles. Impacts on your telomeres. Now, your telomeres are the things that sit on the end of your DNA, like little plastic caps, like the end of shoelaces. When you get around 7 average night's sleep, those telomeres lengthen. When you don't have enough sleep, 5 hours or less, they shorten, and they regulate aging in the body. So you're not getting enough sleep, you're actually speeding up the aging process. And you probably know that because you feel old anyway. You don't have enough sleep, right? Now, here's really, really interesting research. Lack of good quality sleep is also shown to increase the risk of Alzheimer's, and this is why. It leads to an increase in beta amyloid, which is the proteins, and in the brain, they clump together to form amyloid plaques. And those amyloid plaques have been identified as a hallmark to Alzheimer's. And what happens is when you sleep, the brain is able to flush those beta amyloid proteins out and stops it clumping. And interesting, I was just saying to my husband, I'm following a gal on Instagram, one of the Instagram influencers. They're looking after her father-in-law who has stage 4, I think, or stage 5 Alzheimer's. And she's often asked, she does a lot of sharing about him. And she said, we know for years, he lived on 5 hours sleep a night, for years. And he was a football coach. Very direct, very smart, very clever man, but really disciplined. And and felt that sleep was a bit of a waste of time. And now they're struggling with Alzheimer's. It's not the only thing, but it can be one of the things that can lead to Alzheimer's. So if I haven't scared you enough now, sleep is important, not only for visceral fat, but for your long-term health, to help you age well and reduce the risk, one of the risk factors to Alzheimer's. And I don't know about you, but it's everywhere around me at the moment. I have so many friends who are caring for parents, elderly parents with Alzheimer's. It's extraordinary. I know there's lots of different factors, but this is one of them. So we can help reduce that by looking at sleep quality, focusing on sleep as being one of the 4 S's to help you age well and reduce that visceral fat. So let's get into now. Got your pen and paper handy, because I've got 10 tips for you, and I'm keeping an eye on the time. Number 1, avoid foods that contain sugar or caffeine at night, aka chocolate. Do you know how many, hands up, love a piece of chocolate after dinner, or a dessert, or something sweet? I mean, we grew up with it, right? You know, eat your dinner and you get dessert. I mean, it becomes part of our vernacular, really. 2 things about that. One is caffeine. A lot of sugar, especially dark chocolate, has caffeine that'll impact on your ability to get to sleep, but it's the sugar. So when you have foods with sugar late at night, causes a blood sugar spike. So if you, say, have dinner around 7 and you're going to have a piece of chocolate around, say, 8, maybe you have a cup of tea, chocolate biscuit, you're going to get a spike in blood sugar. Around 6 or 7 hours later, that blood sugar level is going to start to drop, because that's what happens, you have sugar and caffeine. What actually helps blood sugar regulate is cortisol, which is our stress hormone, right? Wakes us up. That's what we need. Cortisol comes in, during the night, during the mornings, to help wake you up. We need cortisol to wake us up. So if you're having chocolate or something sweet at night with a cup of tea before you go to bed, what you're doing, you may wake up between 2 and 3 in the morning worrying about something. It's cortisol trying to wake you up. So instead, tip number 2, choose foods that contain tryptophan, such as walnuts, almonds, hummus, or bananas. Now, what's really interesting about tryptophan is that it helps your body both make serotonin and melatonin, so that it regulates. And you know, one of the best things that you can have, I'm just going to skip over to this one, almonds and bananas. They're also high in magnesium. So if you've got a sweet tooth at night, you are far better off to have some whole wheat toast with a banana on it, and maybe some almond butter to balance out those, to increase the amount of magnesium and increase the amount of tryptophan. So as I said, tryptophan helps the body make both serotonin and melatonin. And we started this just recently because I have a Canadian husband who loves his sweet food at night. Loves. Has to have a chocolate, have to have a cookie, have to have something. So we've started making, or he's starting to make cookies with almond meal and nuts and no sugar. So, and they're quite nice, actually, dried fruit. We've got dried fruits in it. So, and I enjoy, if I'm really sort of craving something sweet, piece of toast with banana on top. It's delicious at night. It reminds me of when I was a kid. So you can have, you know, a piece of toast, some almond butter if you want, maybe some peanut butter if you're desperate. I don't like peanut butter. My husband does. With banana on top. Absolutely beautiful. So looking at ways to swap things out, right? Are you a person who likes sweet foods at night? Let me know. Yes or no? You like those sweet foods at night? Could be impacting. Now, here's something really interesting. People who eat seafood, and that was oily fish such as salmon or prawns, foods such as prawns, not only reported better sleep, but had better cognitive function the following morning. Now, we have seafood probably 2 to 3 times a week. We're like, we're Tuesday night because we walk over, we've got a fresh seafood guy about, I don't know, half an hour walk from us. So we incorporate our afternoon walk over, get some seafood. We have it Tuesday night, usually Tuesday night, Thursday night, perhaps once on the weekend. Always have prawns at some stage. That really impacts. So it's better sleep and better cognitive functioning. So if you're not eating a lot of seafood, look to where you can include it in your diet. Tuna was another one. So canned tuna was just as good for increasing it. So you're looking at, as I mentioned again, foods high in magnesium, almonds and butter. Michelle, yeah, big chocolate lover, right? Let me know if this is kind of ringing true. And as I said, don't swap, don't go without, because then that makes you want it even more. But do something like wholemeal toast with a banana on it. It's delicious. Tell me, it's yummy. When I had it the other night, I thought, oh, yum, this is nice. It reminds me of being a kid, just lovely. Now, another one is sweet potatoes. Sweet potatoes also provide sleep-promoting complex carbohydrates, which help you sleep, but they also contain potassium, which again can help you sleep at night. So if you're having potato, swap it out for sweet potato. I've gotten sick of the yellow one, I have to admit, because I went to sweet potato. I really like the white one. They're kind of a purpley color. They make great chips. Can I tell you? Last night we had seafood, a fish, and we chopped up the sweet potato, the purple one, and just tossed it in some beautiful virgin olive oil with some herbs on top, baked it in the oven for, I think it was half an hour. Oh, had it with fish. Oh, my God, they were good. They're really good. Had a good night's sleep last night, by the way, just saying. All right, tip number 3. Now, this is really interesting. Exercising in the morning and including a stress release walk at sunset helps to produce melatonin. Now, here's why. Natural sunlight within half an hour of waking and at sunset without sunglasses increases melatonin production and the circadian rhythms that govern sleep. Isn't that interesting? So it's the melatonin production in the morning. So that's getting out in the sun between round about sort of sunrise to maybe 8 o'clock, just 10 minutes outside and the sun, going for a walk without sunglasses, which I thought was really interesting. The eyes pull in, the sunlight helps to create that melatonin. And at night, at sunset, because at sunset, that regulates the body's production of melatonin. So it just kind of signals the body to go into the melatonin production. And, because we've just got artificial light around us all day. Interesting study. The study actually came out of Melbourne University, which I thought was fascinating. They were talking about how we are so devoid of vitamin D because Australians don't get out in the sun. We tend to cover up. But that early morning sunlight is really important. So if you can incorporate some exercise with it, great. If not, just out in it. And if you can't grab it in the morning, round about lunchtime, just get out in the sun for a few minutes. Be careful, obviously, from the heat of the day, but just so that helps produce melatonin. That's fascinating. So the sunrise it's going to balances the body's ability to create serotonin and melatonin. All right. Hope these are helping. We've got 6 more to go. Here we go. Use a sleep mask or blackout curtains at night to reduce artificial light, because the artificial light that wakes us up. So we live in a high rise on a main road, and so our room is not black at all. It's I can wake up and see everything. So since I have included, and I've got it right here, a silk sleep mask, I just love it. And the silk is really good because it doesn't place pressure on your wrinkles around your eyes, number one. But the silk is cooling to the touch. And in the summertime, I was actually popping it into the fridge for a little, not for a long time, but for a little bit, so that it was cool on me when I was going to sleep at night. But I got this on Amazon, I think. Amazon. Wasn't that expensive. It was made by some gal in New South Wales, I think. But yeah, a silk sleep mask. Look for the silk sleep mask if you can't use blackout curtains. And The next part, tip 5, is essential oils. Now, these are part of my world, essential oils. If you want to know more about them, send me a DM. But the one I love most of all is lavender peace. I hope that thing's just upside down. It's a doTERRA lavender peace. Any of the doTERRA products are brilliant. So good for them. And so what I do at night now is I just rub a little bit of the lavender peace on my temple. I rub it on my wrist, breathe it in, pop the sleep mask on, and I'm gone, baby. I'm gone. And sometimes in the middle of the night when I've got to wake up to pee, I'll do it again. Straight back to sleep again. In fact, the funniest thing this morning was I usually wake up at 4:30. I just wake up at 4:30, just part of my annoying habits. And what I did was that 4:30 is too early to get up. So I just reached for the lavender piece, stuck it under my temples. The next thing I know, it was 6, which sort of annoyed me because I didn't really want to go back to sleep. But anyway, I did. All right, tip number 6. Let me know if any of these are ringing true for you. Keep your bedroom cool at night. Around 18 degrees is ideal. I think in the winter time, sometimes we can fall into the habit of making our bedrooms too warm. You don't want to go to bed when it's cold. But see if you can monitor that. Keep your bedroom cool at night, around 18 degrees. Sometimes if it's too cold, it will also wake you. I know it's hard. I know I have a sister who lives in regional Victoria, and the temperature is -2 where she is. But see how you can keep that regular. As I said, around 18 degrees Celsius is the ideal. Number 7, this is a habit I started to get into a little while ago, was writing in my journal at night, including my affirmations. So there's 2 aspects to this. A lot of people talk about writing out their to-do list, get it out of their head at night, so they know it sends a signal to the brain that I know what I'm doing tomorrow. It takes all that worry out of your brain. I like to write my affirmations. And it's just slowly, I just take the time to just write them longhand. I find I wake up thinking about them. So the first thing in the morning, I often wake up and I've got the affirmations already in my head. There's lots of talk about, you all know about, not having phones in the room and making sure you're not watching TV, all that stuff. I find for me, it's not falling asleep, it's staying asleep. That's what I find. And so many of these are about that, staying asleep, so you get that good night sleep. Tip number 8. I don't like this one. Reduce alcohol at night. Alcohol induces a deeper than usual sleep in the first half of the night. Like that, a lot of people drink alcohol to fall asleep. They're stressed. But what happens is, as the body is processing, your liver is processing the alcohol, it's working overtime, it causes a disrupted sleep in the second half of the night. So it pulls you out of that REM sleep. So you're actually not getting a good night's sleep at all. You'll fall asleep quickly, but you'll tend to wake up as the body's producing or assimilating and processing sugar in the alcohol, or just the alcohol itself. And of course, we end up with fat sparing, where the liver is processing the alcohol first and fat cell is left. So it's not functioning. And, I'd say have a glass of wine at 5 o'clock. If you'd like a glass of wine at 5 o'clock, and then don't have another glass of wine just before you go to bed. I'll have a glass of wine with dinner, 1 glass, and, enjoy it. And then don't go to bed for 2 or 3 hours, just so that and make sure you have those foods containing tryptophan, which leads into the next one. Create a sleep routine. I know Michelle in particular, I know in those times in perimenopause where I wasn't getting, my sleep patterns were all over the place. If I fall asleep easily, but I wasn't getting a good night's sleep. And so then I'd try and sleep in, or think, oh God, I'm too tired to get up. But that's a disruption. The faster you can get into a sleep habit, waking up at a certain time and going to bed at a certain time is much better for your brain and helps you get into that production of melatonin and working on the circadian rhythms. If you're tired, get up and then go back for a 20-minute nap, but before 2 p.m. So if you have a nap, don't have a nap late in the afternoon. Will disrupt your sleep patterns. But if you're really tired, get up, do a few things, go back, have a nap about 20 minutes, and then again go to bed at a certain time. You want to try and really get that circadian rhythm working well. Sandy, most of us still work at 5 p.m. No drinking on the job, Sandy. Oh, you're hilarious. Yeah, that's true. Well, 6 then. That's true. That's true. That's why I work for myself. I got to admit, I mean, I really do. I laugh at that, but I do enjoy a glass of wine at night. And for Jerry and I, and you're probably the same, Sandy, with Anthony, it's just a lovely thing to do at night sometimes. Sit down together, have a glass of wine, end the night, but just have, I think the rule of thumb here is try and have that wine early on, not an hour before you go to bed. That's funny. Number 10, meditate daily, EFT regularly to reduce stress, worry, and anxiety. If you wake up, one of the habits I love to do, and I've recommended many people, is to tap when you can't sleep. If you wake up in the middle of the night and you can't get back to sleep, what I love to do is, I've got my sleep mask on, I put my lavender piece back on, is to imagine I'm tapping on each of the points. I find if I actually physically tap on them, I wake myself up. So what I do is I lie there and just imagine going around each of the points and just tapping on, I allow sleep. I choose to sleep. I choose to sleep, just, and breathing deeply. And I found that often gets me back into a gentle way of sleeping. For me, you may try tapping on the meridian points, like physically tapping. I found it wakes me up. So I just lay there and I just go from, it's like counting sheep, right? I just go there and just imagine myself tapping on each of the points and just saying the word sleep, like counting sheep. And eventually I wake up and think, oh, she fell back to sleep again. All right. Yes. All right. So I hope these have helped. We're 8 minutes over time. I hope these have helped. Let me know how to start. If there's a tip in this you're going to try today. Perimenopause and menopause, I said 61% of women in menopause struggle with sleep. And I tell you, you wake up. I didn't have hot flushes through menopause, perimenopause and menopause. I didn't get hot flushes, thank goodness, but I get night sweats. And acupuncture helped, but all these other things helped, in particular reducing stress. So I was getting that good night's sleep, wasn't waking up. Although I do remember one night waking up, and all I could do, I just went and lay on the tiles on the bathroom floor. I was so uncomfortable. It was terrible. I wish I'd known all about this then, because I think back then I was probably drinking a little bit too much alcohol. I had teenagers at home, and I was working a stressful job. When I took all the, click all the pieces together, that was actually what was going on. So, Michelle. Oh, good, Michelle. Can you let me know? I really would like to know if some of these things work for you. Give it a week and let me know. I'd really like to know if any of them help and what you implement. Because can I tell you, as I said at the beginning of the show, it's just so important. We have to reduce our visceral belly fat if we're going this virus thing. One of the main implications of this is those with increased belly fat. Just saying. So looking at that, plus looking at our overall mental health and, reducing the risk of Alzheimer's, as I said, anything that you can do, who knows? I mean, we don't know. But if you can reduce that risk of Alzheimer's, it's we go a long way to helping ourselves. Good. Yeah, let me know. I'd be really keen to find out how you're going with that. All right, and remember, if you are stronger, leaner, lighter information, if you want to know more about it, so let's have a chat. We are launching, I think, the 1st of August with the next round, this 8-week program. We've had some fantastic things happen this in this go round at the moment. August, we will be launching a new one to help you stay stronger and leaner and lighter. That's it from me, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful day. I hope you get a good night's sleep tonight to implement some of those habits. And remember, not stressing about it is probably a really good thing too. Have a great week, everybody. And I'll see you next week on the Stronger, Leaner, Lighter show next Wednesday at 12 o'clock. See you then.